Hello and welcome to ET Auto. We are in conversation with Shailesh Chandra, president of SIAM, and he has just delivered a special address at the ninth ET Auto EV Conclave. And we are going to get some more perspectives from him about the progression of the electrification megatrend in India, the challenges ahead, and the opportunities that are there to be tapped and how they can be tapped better than what the industry is doing currently. So, Shailesh, thanks for sparing your time. The status where the EV industry stands as of now, specifically in India, in some segments is doing as good as expected, perhaps better. In some segments, not so well. Some is lagging behind. So, what are the factors you think, and how do you think everything, if not at par, can be things which are not moving as expected can be done better, and those which are doing good can be sustained.
Sure. I think, Sumantra, if you see in the last 4 5 years, I would say that 5 years, 6 years back, it would have been the start of the journey of electrification in India. And I think there are four key stakeholders who have participated in the growth of electric vehicles, and this has varied from segment to segment, and therefore you see different outcomes in different categories of automotive. First, I think the whole environment for letting the EV industry grow was through the policies of the government, right? Where there was a faster adoption and manufacturing of electric vehicle policies which came into place, which was FAME 2, and then now it is the PME drive. But FAME 2 played a big role in terms of incentivizing two-wheelers and three-wheelers in a big manner, alongside some of the state government benefits, lower GST rates and all, which really helped these segments uh, pick up fast because it was able to bridge one of the key barriers, which was price, in terms of gap versus the ICE vehicles. These two segments have really responded fast. Uh, OEMs also in these cases, there were a lot of new startups also which came into this space. There were new players beyond the incumbents which participated. So OEM participation was also significantly high. The need for elaborate charging infra across the country, whether you talk about highways and all, especially, it was not needed for two-wheelers and three-wheelers. So within the city, you could charge your car, your batteries at home. You can pull out the battery and charge. So that was convenient. It was not, I'd say, overtly dependent on need for a public charging infra across the country. So this has done well. I think because of the demand growth, the supply ecosystem also overcame the chicken and egg issue. When it comes to passenger vehicle and commercial vehicle, the story of penetration has been slightly different because there was a benefit for these categories also. Let me start with first commercial vehicle. There was an intense focus on buses um, by the urban transport companies. Government backed it with good subsidies through FAME and all, and it picked up. There was an intention of the government also to push this agenda, and you have seen the buses in big cities. You will see electric buses plying on the road. So I think there has been a reasonable progress that
In
has
fact, in
happened.
the city bus segment, if I'm not wrong, it's over a quarter in terms of the share of EVs, if I'm not wrong, 25,
Correct,
27%
correct.
or so.
I would not know exact number, but broadly it might be around that ballpark number. Uh, on the small commercial vehicle side also, you saw that there was a traction, uh, although it was not backed by significant incentives, but the better taxation structure and all, and the TCO which it offered, helped it get some traction. But still, overall, the penetration has remained around 1% in CV. In passenger vehicles, if you see, there was no incentive to back the personal category, which is 90-95% of the whole passenger vehicle industry, but it was given 5% GST rate, which really helped in overcoming and bridging some gap between the ICE vehicles and the EVs. Over a period of time, I think the prices of the technology, also the cost of the technology came down, especially with cell prices coming down and all. So you have seen that now you're coming very close to parity in terms of versus the ICE, the price gap between EVs and you're also able to give reasonable range, driving range. So a lot of barriers have been overcome in these 4 5 years, which has helped the industry move from just 1 or 2 thousand a year 5 years back to more than a lakh now. So this is despite no subsidies as such available for this segment. The other big factor where this has not moved is late participation of OEMs in this. Frankly, it was mainly Tata Motors which was the singular player who was driving the ecosystem development and all. Because of this low power penetration, the participation of charging infra players and all has also been more.
They were also not encouraged so much.
Yes, it was again, let the cars come on the road, but now today you have more than 2 lakh vehicles on the road, and therefore you're seeing CPOs, OMCs being given mandate by the government and all. So I think this category is now ready for an offtake because a lot of OEMs are going to participate now onwards. So the next 5-year journey for this category is going to be strong. There's a technology with which customers are now feeling comfortable. So there is a comfort, so there is a pull, there is a push from the policy side, which will now help this segment grow very quickly. So that has been broadly the story.
So what you're saying, especially in the passenger vehicle segment, with what has happened in the recent weeks or months, would you therefore say that perhaps 25, 26 would be that inflection point for
I
the
believe so. I
electric passenger
believe so
vehicle?
because see, when there are cumulative noise around new launches and the marketing campaigns of all the OEMs backing that, of course, it becomes the talk of the town, and therefore there will be huge momentum that people will, huge momentum that the industry is going to get, and at the same time, customers always want more options, more brands, and that helps the industry grow fast. On the back of this, there will be collective effort of now 5, 6 players to build the ecosystem together. So that also helps. And therefore, overall confidence will increase. I think this is very good for the industry.
And as an industry leader, are you satisfied with the way the ecosystem is evolving? Namely, primarily on the, let's say, the R&D and the skilling side. Or do you think there is a, of course, it's not where it should be, but some say that perhaps the gap is much more, and the sooner we fix it, the better. Do you agree to that?
I completely agree because this is where significant work is required to prepare ourselves for an explosive growth. This is a dynamic industry where technology is also changing fast. It's a collective participation of government, academic institutes, OEMs upskilling their people, giving them advanced, trainings on these new technologies, which is electrification, and making them work on live projects. I think this is the journey through which we have to go through, especially for the skilled engineers and all. I'm saying. At the same time, the whole value chain, skill development to handle electrification, supply side, distribution side, across service, all these areas you have to train the workforce if you have to achieve the vision of 30%. So a lot of work to be done, and I quoted the number of what is needed from a skill development perspective as far as this area is concerned.
Indeed. And at the global level, Shailesh, we are witnessing softening of battery prices at one level, which bodes well for the EV industry, not only in India, globally. But at the same time, on the other side, you have challenges like geopolitical issues and some like protection of the domestic industry. So how do you see these kind of developments, kind of panning out in the future, and thereby, affecting the strategies or the movement of the EV industry?
One, I can only say from an India perspective, protectionism is a off late affair, I would say, and different countries have very different postures, and there is a tendency of protecting your economy, so that is very natural and will keep happening. From an India perspective, your big dependence on, say, cell manufacturing and potential tariff barrier increases and all can make the costs again higher. Therefore, it is imperative, and that's why government is backing with PLI, ACC, and all to have local cell manufacturing in the country, which should insulate us from that level. But I think there are a lot of more opportunities through localization and design of the subsystems, which can help you further reduce costs because cell prices possibly are now hitting the lower levels of what it can, right? So therefore, I believe that with the localization effort and all, there is good potential still.
On that note, Shailesh, thanks for sparing your time. Always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
There you heard Shailesh Chandra, President of Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers, sharing his thoughts on the progression of the status and progression of the EV industry in India and what needs to be done to kind of avail or to tap the growing opportunities for India to really emerge stronger as a major as a global EV industry hub. On that note, thank you for watching this interview. Take care. Goodbye.
Thank you.